So hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. So in this tutorial video, we are going to learn about how to create animated hot cup of tea using HTML and pure CSS. So as you can see that this is the example of our I am going to create now. So as you can see that this is our hot cup of tea coffee. Now let's move forward to our code guys. So as you can see, let's start with a new one. Let's clear this one. Let's open our live server. Now we are going to start with our first one point is our class. So let's select our class here as a container. I'm going to give them the name. Okay. Then I'm also going to create a plate here because we have a plate in the animated. You see that. So I give them the name as a for plate here as a class, and I give them the name as a plate. Now inside that container, I'm also going to create a cup and top order and vapor here for our cloud animation. So let's write down our division class as a cup here. I'm going to write down the name here so you can easily understand. Now let's give them the another name here is our top position for our cup. Now let's remain these only here. We will write next. Let's start with our CSS file. Okay guys. We will write down continue to HTML file in the progress. So let's firstly start with our body. So I started our start and I given the margin here as a 0, then padding as a 0. Then I'm going to create here box sizing border box. Now let's start with our body class here guys. Now let's display as a flags here guys. Then let's write down a justify content as a center. Then align items as a center. Then minimum height. I'm going to write down here 100 vertical heights. Then I'm going to create here our background here guys. So let's create our background as this one color. I'm going to create whichever you want to create. Now let's start with our main class, our container. So let's write down our container class here. Curly brackets open and close. So I'm going to give them the position as a relative here and top position as a 50 pixel. I'm going to give them. Now I'm going to start with our cup here guys. As you can see this is our class cup. So let's start with our cup guys. Curly brackets open and close. Let's write down our position. Now let's write down our width and height here. So let's write it down as a 300 pixel. I'm going to write it down here. Then let's select our background. I'm going to use it here our linear gradient here guys. Now let's write down our color whichever you want to add here. So I add here this one. Now let's select our second one. This. So this is our color guys. Now I'm going to create here our border bottom guys here. So let's border bottom left radius. There's a mistake here in this one. Is this. So as you can see this is our background color looks like. So let's set our border radius here guys. So as this one I'm going to write down as a 45% here. And let's select our Right radius here as a 45%. So as you can see, it's moved to the curve right now. So that is how it works. Now we are going to create a circle here, as you can see. So we are going to create circle here. So for circle, I am going to write down after these 1 hour. So let's write down after the container. So I am going to write down here our the class as I give them the name as a circle so we can understand. Now let's write down our class here in CSS file as a circle, curly brackets open and close. Let's give them the position as a absolute, then top position as a 5 pixel or whichever you want. Then left position I write down as a 10 pixel. Then let's write down a width. So I'm going to use here our calculate method here guys. So let's write down as I write down here as a 20 pixel. Now let's write down our height as a 50 pixel. I'm going to write down here. Now select our background. So I'm going to select our background as a linear gradient to the left position. If you want to give them the right position, you can also do that by write down here to right. So now let's give them the color here. So I'm going to give them the color. Let's just copy this one. So as you can see that guys, our circle is here is slightly different. So let's adjust our circle here. So let's write down our border radius as a 50 percentage. So as you can see, it's circle right now. Now let's adjust our box sizing as a border box, and here we are going to give them overflow as a hidden. So as you can see, this is how our circle looks like. Okay. Now we are going to start. If you want to adjust the top, you can also do that. So let's add our top here. So I'm going to write down our top class here. So it can adjust our circle. So as you can see, we already write down here our top. So let's write down our top class. So I'm going to give them as a position as a absolute here. Then let's write down our top position as a 30 pixel. So as you can see, it's changing right now. Now let's give them the left position as a 0. Then our width. Then our height as I'm going to write down 60 pixel here. Then background as a linear gradient I'm going to use to the right position. We are going to use it here. So let's just copy this one guys. Now save. So as you can see, now let's adjust our border radius guys. So here I'm going to use as a 50%. So as you can see, this is how our border radius look like. Now let's move forward to our T. If we want to add our T here, so now we are going to move forward to our T class here. Now let's write down our T class which we didn't write it here. So let's write down our T class as a, I give them the name as a T. And after the T, we are going to add our handle here. If you want to add handle, so Let's add our handle here, and I give them the name as a handle, then close. Now let's move forward to our T class. So we are going to give them the position as a absolute here, guys. So let's write down our position. Then the top position as a 20 pixel, then left as a 0. Now let's write down our width, then height, then let's add our background as a linear gradient. Let's just copy this one. Now let's change this color so we can easily understand how our T's look like. So I'm going to use our T color. So let's write down our this one, and let's write down our this one. Let's give them the border radius here, guys. So it can be visible as a 50%. So as you can see, now let's use our handle. So let's write down our handle here, guys. So let's give them the position as a absolute, and let's write down our right position. I'm going to give them as a 70 pixel, or let's write down as a 40 pixel top. Then our width and height, then border. Let's write down 1B2776. So as you can see, now let's adjust our width and height here. Let's see in the height. Now let's save this one as a border radius as a 50%. So as you can see, so let's adjust our this size. Now I'm going to use our border left as a 25 pixel solid transparent. So as you can see, my 25% uh, transparent here, guys. Now let's use our border bottom as a 25 pixel solid transparent. So as you can see, now let's adjust our angle here, guys. So for adjust our angle, we are going to use our rotate here as let's use our 35 degree, and let's see slightly difference. So let's add our 40 degree, 45, 42. Yes, it's green right now. Now we are going to use our plate here, guys. Let's curly brackets open and close. Now let's write down our plate, guys. We already write it down here in the first one, which I already told we need for plate for our cup of tea. And so let's start with our plate. So I'm going to write down our position as absolute. Sorry, guys. Now let's write down our bottom as 50 pixel. Then let's give them the left position as a 50 percentage. Then transform as a translate x 50%. I'm going to use it here. Let's use our width. I write down as a 200 pixel. Then let's give them the background as a linear gradient. To right here, I'm going to give them. So let's write down. Let's give them the white color here, guys. Okay, and our cup of tea is blue. Now let's select our border radius as a 50 percentage, and then let's write down our box shadow as a 35 pixel. I'm going to use our RGBA color. Now let's write down our height here. We didn't write our height, as you can see. Now let's keep this one as a pic. Yeah, as you can see, our plate is here, our cup is here, our handle is here, our circle is here. Okay, now we are going to use our plate before and after here, guys. So let's write down our plate after, curly brackets open and close, and our plate before, up, curly brackets open and close. Now let's write our content as empty here. Let's give them the position as absolute. Then let's write down our top position as a, and write down as a 10 pixel. Now let's write down our left, right, bottom. Now firstly I'm going to write down as a 10 pixel. Let's all write as a 10 pixel. Now let's write down our border radius as a 50 percentage. Now let's give them the background here as a linear gradient. We are going to use to left. So I'm just going to write down this upper one. So let's just copy and paste it. So our plate before content is clear, guys. Now we are going to write down our plate after. So let's write down as a content. I'm going to write down as empty. Then position as absolute. Then top, left, right, bottom. So let's just copy this one. Let's also write down this all. Let's just all copy one. Sorry. Now we are going to adjust our this one. Let's write down as a 30 pixel. This one also has a all are at 30 pixel. Now we are going to change our this one, our linear gradient to radial. We are going to use it here because our plate is circle here, guys. For circle we need to use our radial gradient. So let's write down our RGBA. So let's write down our opacity as a 0.2, as a 25 percentage. I'm going to write down, then transparent and transparent. So as you can see, it's not visible right now. Let's see. As you can see, there's a border here, but if I give them the transparent, then it's going to not visible, but it is visible in the animation after we add. Now we are going to add our hot air here. So let's add our vapor here, guys. So for vapor, we need to add our class in our HTML file. Okay. So let's start. So we need to write down here as a inside top. So I'm going to write down here our div class as a vapor. Inside that, I'm going to write down our span tag here. Then our style as a I. We are going to use it here. Then close. Now let's just here this one div class. So as you can see, because of our extra div class we add in HTML file previous, that's why. So now we are going to use this one. So let's paste it. So I'm going to just write down here as a different number here. So watch closely, guys. It's already I prepared that video. That's why I know how to do that. So let's just simply write down. Here I'm going to write as a 14. 14 which you already write down. Now 9. Here as a 15. Last one is our 19. So here I use here our span tag style here, guys. Okay. Now let's move forward to our CSS file. So we are going to start your position and the display. So let's give them the position as a D here and the display as a flex. Now let's write down our Z index as a 1, then our padding as a 0, 20 pixel. Now we are going to use our vapor span tag here. So let's curly brackets open and close. Then let's write our position. Then let's use our bottom here as a 50 pixel. Then display as a block. Then margin as a 0, 2 pixel and 50 pixel. Now I'm going to use a minimum width here, guys. So let's write down as a 8 pixel or whichever you want. So let's write down our height as a 120 pixel. I write down here. So let's select our background color, guys. So I'm going to select our white color. So as you can see, it's visible right now. Now let's select our border radius as a 50%. Then let's give them the animation. I give them the name as animate. 5 second linear infinite. Let's give them the opacity as a 0 here, guys. So we can see that in the outputs how it look like. So let's write down our keyframes. So let's write down our animate, curly brackets open and close, 0% transform. So let's write down or translate Y angle here firstly guys. As a 0 I'm going to write down. So I'm going to use here our scale X position as a 1 here guys. So now let's just copy this one. For 15% I'm just going to give them the opacity as a 1. Now let's write down our 50%, and in the inside the 50 pixel I'm going to let's give the negative points here as a 100 pixel and here as a 5. So as you can see, let's give them the 1 pixel. It goes up and down according to that need. Now let's write down our 90% 5% as a opacity. I'm going to give them as a 0. When it goes to up, then it's not visible. Now let's write down our 100% as a transform. Let's write down our translate. Let's just copy this one. So here I'm going to change our angle as a 300 pixel and scale as a 10. So let's just give it a try. Now let's see our this one our span tag. Let's add our blur animation. So for blur we need to use our filter here guys. So let's use our blur as a 80 pixel, 8 pixel. So as you can see, now I'm going to give them the animation delay here guys. So let's delay the animation as a calculate we are going to use. Now we are going to use these one or this. So let's just copy and paste. We also need to write down here as a variable. Now let's write down as a minus 0.5 second. So it can be delay the animation. Let's see which error is coming here. Yeah, here I didn't complete the brackets. So here as you can see that guys, this is our hot cup animated tea here guys, cup of tea. So this is for our cup of tea guys. If you have any query, write down in the comment section, and also for this source code, don't forget to write your email ID in the comment section. Okay, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Bye.